Welcome one and all to Umami Manga. I'm Petter, and this is James.
Hey!
And today we're talking about volume 23 of To Your Eternity, the third to last volume of this whole manga.
Oh! Oh, wow.
Yep.
I was wondering how much more do we have? Because I totally forgot and didn't bother to look it up.
Yep.
Oh,
Just two more after this one.
there's two more.
Well,
Man.
This volume opens with a very brief flashback to one of Yuki's birthdays that he had when he was an older man. Then we return to the present day with Bon reporting on his findings up in the Kaibara headquarters. The Immortals realize that instead of mankind taming the Knockers in this era, it may actually be the other way around.
Dun, dun,
dun. They're also wondering kind of about what secrets Kaibara is trying to keep to themselves by restraining that woman up there, but also trying to keep whatever Dolly's secrets are away from the general public. They're kind of questioning that without really going anywhere with it, but I figured I'd just mention it here in the summary of the volume since it was an interesting little thing. Anyway, we find out that Abel apparently has a terminal illness that could take his life within the year. Dolly proclaims her love for Abel, though he is unconscious, and then she and Fushi head up to the old Mizuha clone laboratory. They discover the dead Mizuha clones in some kind of special water being preserved there. The sole survivor, thanks to her consciousness being connected to a computer, who is Mizuha clone number 18, appears and helps restore Dolly's memories, increasing her self-identity system all the way up to 100%. So that was a huge leap from 3.79% that the previous volume ended with. And from there, the volume dives into number 32's origins. We got to see the beautiful sistership that existed between the Mizuha clones. They were working there to try to recreate a perfect copy of Mizuha, but so far none had been a success in the way that none of them had Mizuha's real mind, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. Number 32 meets Abel as an infant and then follows him throughout the first 8 years of his life, or maybe 12 years of his life, actually, since he was 20, so 20 minus 8 is 12. Although we haven't seen the latter 4 of those years yet.
True.
8 years passed in the flashbacks in this manga, in this volume. Anyway, number 32's mentor figure is another Mizuha clone called number 15, who she gets to know, and this character dies a very regretful and sad death closer to the end of this volume. Then number 32 decides to try to take down Kaibara in order to rid the world of the stigma that exists toward the lacking. Mm-hmm. And she does this to hope to protect Abel. Interestingly, Rabbit sort of helped her come up with this idea.
Yeah.
And so number 32 and number 18, her roommates, successfully transferred all of Doro's consciousness into the doll and gave the doll the super punch ability and stuff like that. And once the transfer was complete and Dolly fully understood that she is Doro, that she is Mizuha clone number 32, that's when the volume ends. So, sorry if that was incomprehensible. That was a lot. But this volume really gave us so much information.
Yeah, for sure. It revealed what we had been speculating for a while and maybe went back and forth on just because of the nature of how she was trying to hide, she being Oima, trying to hide who Dolly really was. But at the end of the day, I think we knew that Dolly had to be Doro.
Yes.
Number 32.
Right.
So it's great that we got that revelation and to see her origin. And there was a lot to go through. So very excited to talk about that and really just gush about Doro in general.
Yeah, I would love to do that. So, why wait? Let's dive in and talk about Doro / number 32 / Dolly, who we all know now is one and the same. I'll kick it off with just pointing out that at the start of the volume, when at that point in time, as we knew from the volume before this one, Dolly had only restored 3.79% of her self-identity system by the very start of this volume. Yet, despite that very low percentage being restored, she still felt this love for Abel. And I think that's just very sweet. I don't know if it points toward those few percentages being just, or that the love was so strong that it shines through that very low percentage, or if it means that
Mm-hmm.
Dolly, with her new memories, or the memories that she has gotten since the memory wipe, or whatever you want to say,
Mm-hmm.
has come to appreciate and have a love of some kind for Abel, just with her new memories alone. It's hard to say exactly, but regardless, I think it's very sweet.
Yeah, there's a couple things I want to touch on there. First, with the romantic feelings, that's how Dolly had described her feelings for him as the man that she loves.
Mm,
And I don't know if she truly understood that, but that's just how she ended up interpreting it. And so that's definitely a possibility as to how Doro feels about Abel. But I do wonder with the kind of age gap that they had. Now, granted, the age gap that Doro explains is like, oh, I'm actually a day younger than Abel. But in truth, she was what, a Mizuha clone in her 20s or so. So there was a pretty big gap in terms of Doro being a functional adult
hmm
and Abel being a child.
Yes.
It makes me wonder if truly there could have been those romantic feelings, and maybe this is just going to be one of those stories where it just explores a very strange age gap type situation. That could be the case,
Yeah.
but I almost wonder if it could be just some sort of just love in general, some familial love, maybe a motherly love. I don't know. It just it's hard to say, and yet you look at the example that Dora had with 15 and Charon. We'll talk about them later, but just the example she had there and seeing 15's adoration for Charon, and I think her wanting to have something like that as well. Maybe it could be romantic love, and I'd be fine at the end if that's what it is. I'm just putting it out there that
Hmm.
it was Dolly misinterpreting the feelings. Is this just a person she wants to protect, not
Right.
just because, or not because she loves him romantically, but she just has a strong bond with him, and it could be more of a older sister, motherly kind of thing.
Precisely right. Because even Doro, or number 32, like before her memory was wiped, she obviously cared very deeply for Abel.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I kind of hope it's not romantic love, because it would kind of be a little potentially strange. Um,
But they're the same looking age wise. I mean, there's the thing. Like, will is Dolly ever or Dodo ever coming back into a human body or some other body? I don't know. There's a lot to explore with this mechanic that they or this I guess technological discovery that she makes with transferring the whole consciousness
mhm.
and the complete self into another entity.
Yes.
Um, there's a lot that they can explore with that, I assume. And dare I say, could that be part of the end game for what Fushi would want for a perfect world? I'll save that for predictions. But
Mhm.
the other point that I wanted to make about how you started up the Dota discussion was
Mm.
Dolly coming back into the present and saying, "This is me." It's
Yeah.
not "this is me."
Yeah.
It's "this is me."
Uh-huh.
It's a question mark.
Yeah.
And I don't know if a person is cognizant about who they are. Is that how they say it? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, is Dolly receiving these memories and actually realizing that I am Doro, or is this more is it not connecting? Similar to how when the clones would get the memory water of Mizuha, they never connected them. They could get the memories, but it didn't feel like theirs.
Right. I think you may be onto like something there with how Dolly's like, yeah, I'll call her Dolly since she's the doll. Like
Mm-hmm.
as she is reliving these memories, or regaining these memories, you're right that she probably doesn't get them as her own, since she would experience them in a very different body from her own. And that was kind of the whole thing that they talked about, that as long as the body and those types of sensations are different, one can't really, like, the body can't accept it as your own experiences, but rather someone else's, but you can still learn about them. So I think, yeah, maybe she just kind of, it was like her viewing a movie or like something. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Still, though, I do think she does understand and recognize that that is her.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes from there.
Hmm. Do you have anything more before we dive into the flashbacks more deeply?
Just something that this has probably been said by Dahl before, but act human means finding someone you want to protect, and I really like that, and
Right.
that's kind of the tale of Fushi in and of himself, because it's a whole story about him basically getting humanity or
Hmm.
understanding humanity, and I think part of that journey for him was finding things that he wanted to protect, and that is part of being human. So I really like that, and just thought I'd bring that up.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That is very nice. And my last little thing before we dive into the flashbacks for Dolly, or for Doro, that chair that the doll sat down in to restore her memories right before she went into, before we went into there, the memories, she sat down there to be reborn into her true self. The chair looks identical to the chair that the boy in the first chapter sat down in as he died,
Mm,
which at that moment in turn allowed for Fushi to be in a way reborn for the first time in human form.
yeah,
So I don't know if that's like, there's a similarity there, but I like that the chair looks exactly the same. I guess it's smaller in
yeah,
scale, but it looks the same.
yeah.
But anyway, right from the start, Doro had the instinct to reject the tag chip, and she stayed true to that, as we know. And I really respect her for not blindly accepting the tag chip, but instead really acknowledging that she was born like, well, at the time when she expresses this, I believe, like, she was born like yesterday, and like obviously she doesn't have the capacity to make such a major decision. And she
Hmm.
understands that she doesn't understand enough to make this call, and I think that's very respectable.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she not only that, but she respects that she has a freedom of choice in this aspect. Doesn't have to blindly accept it. Willing to take the time to think about it
Yeah.
and decide for herself. And I think that leads her to some beautiful answers. Not that I necessarily think it was wrong for the other clones to do so, but it certainly has put her in a unique circumstance that having the chip would not have been able to do.
Right, definitely, definitely.
Something that I want to mention is that even though all the Mizuha clones do look similar, despite the haircuts, they do not all have the same phi, of course. They all have different phi. And
Yes.
that explains Doro's personality as well, as she's just a completely different person,
Hmm.
being. And I don't know if necessarily if when a phi comes back, reincarnation or what, if the personality stays the same or not.
Yeah,
I
I don't
don't
know.
remember if that was ever decided. Probably not, because Hana was what's her name's phi? Oh gosh, I love her so much I can't remember her name.
Per Perona.
Perona. That was definitely her phi, but well, I guess I shouldn't say definitely, but it looked like her. But they didn't. I don't know if they
Mm.
necessarily had the same personality. So I don't know. Maybe that's not a thing, but I think it's safe to say that they all have separate phis than Mizuha's phi, or even Hayase phi, for that matter.
Yes, precisely right, because Mizuha had Hayase's Phi.
Ah,
Um,
that's the thing. Hayase phi had come back in previous forms. They all had different personalities from Hayase.
yeah,
Maybe had some similarities, I suppose, but they were all different in the end.
For sure, right? Like the personality definitely doesn't stay the same, but like certain, I guess in the case of Hayase's fight, which is I think a special case in some sense, uh, but in her case, the fight would at least carry on certain desires, but the personality around those desires would be different. Yeah.
Gotcha. Her first food was ramen. I thought that was a nice callback to the first chapter of this arc, where she
yes,
goes
definitely.
for the ramen.
Yeah, no, that whole thing makes a lot of sense. It was also nice to learn that it was Abel, in a way, who ended up giving number 32 the name Doro.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was another little thing we got explained, something that we learned about earlier. I mean, it was vaguely hinted at in the first volume of this arc, but we learned it, I think, 1 or 2 volumes ago.
Right. Yeah. the whole the whole origin of her just tripping into mud and end up just being like, "Oh, I like that name." It's so funny because I always wondered why Dora. That seems like a terrible name, like just mud.
Yeah.
But it was a name she decided. I think that's well, I guess she she decided with she assumes Abel's suggestion or something. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, yeah, that was sweet.
Yeah.
The glasses that she uses that she's given, which yeah, she needs glasses. I didn't know that.
Right.
She gives them to Abel, and so the glasses that Abel has are the ones that Dodo gave her. That was sweet.
Yeah.
Or gave him.
Right. Yeah, that was very nice.
Now she just has the goggles that act as prescription glasses.
Precisely.
That's,
Which I think suit her better somehow.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
them.
Actually, I mean, yeah, especially as a tinkerer of sorts, yeah, definitely suits her.
Yeah.
I also like how she wants to be like Fushi. She hears about this godlike entity that's helping and protecting people, and that's what she wants. That's what she chooses to be, like aspires to be.
Yeah.
And I think she just has a really admirable sense of morals and uh, just a great personality.
Absolutely. I agree. And there comes a part where, since in this world, those that are different, or well, those that are lacking, aren't welcome in the society of this world, it comes to the point where Doro decides to take down those responsible for the world being the way it is, and that is obviously Kaibara.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, sorry, you say Kaibara, and you're probably right, but is it even something higher than Kaibara, technically speaking?
Right. They were a little bit onto that, and sure, but I still feel like, well. I mean, yeah, that is a fair point. Whether it's Kaibara exactly, or if it's something else that is controlling Kaibara, which in turn is controlling the world. Regardless, Kaibara is actively controlling the world, and maybe it's in being influenced by something over Kaibara, but I guess one could also view whatever is potentially over Kaibara as just being the boss of Kaibara, and thus being Kaibara.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah,
if you go back to the origins of Kaibara with Yuki, what Kaibara became was never his intentions. So whatever took control of Kaibara, I imagine. Actually, no, it wasn't. Oh no,
it was
sorry.
Mizuha,
It wasn't Yuki
right?
who started Kaibara. It was Mizuha.
Yeah,
You're right.
as I kind of a continuation of the Guardians. Anyway, sorry.
No, that's my bad.
So about Doro deciding to take down whoever is responsible,
Right.
for the world being the way it is, with those that are different, those that are lacking, not really being welcome in the society. Ultimately, she chose to do it all in order to protect Abel, and make a world that is more adjusted to people like him, which I think is, I mean, it's I don't know if maybe to some this would seem trivial, but I felt like that was such a beautiful kind of thing for her to want to do. And it also reminds me a bit of the disability field that we have in the real world, where often society is built in ways that inconvenience people that have various types of disabilities. But when we work toward making society more available for everyone, regardless of ability or disability, the world becomes a much better place for everyone. And I don't know, I believe we talked briefly about the lacking and able, perhaps, and drawing parallels to disability or something in potentially the previous or something discussion. But I'm just feeling those types of kind of symbolisms much stronger now
Yeah.
than I did before. I definitely could see the world that Oima has built to, in some sense, be reminiscent of the real world with certain groups of people that are underprivileged in certain ways.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair comparison to make. And, you know, whether that she's trying to get a message out like that or not, I think it's, again, it's fair to say that there is things like that in the real world compared to this dystopian one.
Yeah.
I will say that, and this is just the blurb at the back of the book, so it's not, it maybe not necessarily be Oima's words herself, but the last sentence of the back of the book says, "This is a story about accepting who you are." And
Mm.
when I read that, and having read the volume for the first time, I actually was kind of confused, like, what is that supposed to mean? But having reread it and really thought about it the second time, I totally understand what they're going for. In that, Doro is seeing Abel as an example of someone who is not settling for what society is telling him to be like, and really in turn saying, like, why can't I just be who I am?
Right.
Why do I have to change? And not necessarily being defiant, just not comfortable with conforming. And in truth, that's kind of what Dora was feeling as well from the very beginning, was she was uncomfortable with that kind of stuff. And I think she sees the bravery and the beauty in that. And so I think her fight is really to allow people who want to be who they are and not necessarily force them to change
Right.
and to adapt to what society is forcing to become. Now, I'm not
Mm.
saying that people should never change if they, if they make mistakes or maybe are not great people. I know that's
Right.
maybe not amazing people say. Uh, that message can be skewed a certain way, but
Right.
uh, this is definitely skewed in more so, like you said, those who have disadvantages. I guess maybe that's not the right way to put it, but you know, who are different from the average person. I like the way you look at that.
Thank you. And like, and I appreciate your addition to that as well, where it's not the individual who should adapt or should need to adapt to the society, but rather the society should adapt to the individuals who need or who may need well, something different. And obviously this world is currently not allowing those types of, well, the world itself doesn't have that kind of flexibility.
Yeah.
But I also want to kind of just praise the series of panels that were showing us in first person perspective how Doro has her eye picked out of her face.
Oh, absolutely wild.
I love that. It's very well done, I think.
Yeah, no. And it makes sense, like all those dream flashbacks that Dolly was having in the past, and we saw like basically a corpse that we didn't know at the time, but that 18 was holding. It was just so confusing. Like, what? How does that make any sense?
Yeah.
But now that reveal is so shocking, and yet you understand it. But still, it's
Mm.
like, wow, she went to all that length
Yeah, it's crazy.
uh, to do this. Wow. I mean, I'm impressed with the direction Oima has once again taken the story into some place that I don't think has really been explored before.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty, I mean, in a way, barbaric,
Yeah.
but also admirable, brave. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I'd say it's definitely brave. But anything else on Doro?
Yeah, one more serious thing, and then some other funny things I want to mention.
Yeah.
One other thought I had about the "this is me" part that I failed to bring up earlier is on that page. You see, there's a brain that's floating in a tank, and I wasn't sure if that was meant to be Dora's brain or 18's brain. And so, if it's Dora's brain, maybe she's looking at it and saying, "Whoa, this is me? What?" um,
Ah,
and maybe she can't associate herself with that body anymore, but she's still Doro.
right.
So that could be it. Instead of not being, able to associate herself with Doro at all.
Yeah, that's a good question. I had for some reason only assumed that the brain was Doro's. But I think, I mean, yeah, it could very well be number 18, seeing as her mind was linked, or her consciousness or some was linked up to a computer. So maybe that's what that is, but I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. But it seems like we both agree that the possibility is it could be that is Doro's brain, and
Definitely.
so
Yeah.
her looking at it and questioning or just trying to process like how could that possibly be me could potentially be one of the reasons there.
Definitely. Right.
Um,
Also, speaking of that brain real quick, I assume it's in this same type of like preserving water thing that probably allows it to just exist for a really, really long time without
oh, good point.
rotting or dying or
Yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe jumping the gun a little bit on this, but the other clones must have been killed and then pushed or put into the water.
I think so, yeah.
Um, yeah, that was done.
Mm.
Oh, disturbing. So, okay,
Yeah.
so there's that. Then now I have a few funny things because I
Yeah.
honestly think Doro might be one of my favorite characters in this story, and I'm sure she's just gonna keep on climbing up the tier list
Nice.
until the end of this arc. I just I love her tomboyish personality. I think she's hilarious.
Yes.
But she's also has this again sense of morality that I love. So yeah, I mean, at the end, she could be one of, if not my favorite character. Although Fushi is certainly top tier right now.
Nice. Yes.
When she trips and falls on her face, and all her sister crowd around her, that panel, I did feel her suffocation there, but it kind of felt like a Renaissance era painting, like the Last Supper type of a thing, where she has her arms stretched out, and then all her sisters are around her, you know,
Yeah.
uh, moaning, crying really, but it was kind of a surreal looking panel, and I don't know if she was
True.
trying to invoke that kind of imagery at all, but it just reminded me of Renaissance, almost like Jesus on the cross in a
Right.
way.
No, it that's a fair comparison. And I don't know, I didn't get those vibes, but I do think it's a very funny panel with like her
Yeah,
getting like very slightly bruised up, and they're all like crying around her and all over dramatic, and she's just like, what am I doing here? Like, is this it is very funny.
yeah, definitely meant to be hilarious or funny, and maybe a little unsettling. But
Yeah.
she's very eager to get her butt spanked. I thought that was
Yeah,
yeah,
right
sure. If
away.
that's all, if that'll make you happy, sure, why not?
Yeah.
The look 18 gives Doro when she asks, "What are you gonna do with the doll?" "I'm gonna go make friends with the 7-year-old." She's just like this kid, this this little sister of mine.
Yeah.
I really really love that.
Uh,
I thought that was such a great phase.
yeah.
And that's it I have on Doro. Very happy with this reveal and can't wait to read more about her.
Great, same here. But then let us move on to Mizuha clone number 15.
Oh boy.
She quickly became like a role model for Doro, and
Yeah.
she hadn't gotten her tag chip either, and has been performing good and admirable deeds at the church or at an abandoned church, helping kids.
Yeah.
So, number 15 seemed to have had a philosophy about not obsessing with the past, but instead making a future where one can live freely. And she basically said something along those lines that I just said, and I interpreted that like basically by not obsessing with the past and lamenting the dead, one can live life to its fullest, enjoy the precious fleeting moments, and be free, kind of. And
Mm.
I think that that type of mindset makes a lot of sense with her being mortal. Like she has
Mm-hmm.
a normal lifespan. Um, and I don't know. I have a hard time seeing an immortal character having a kind of a philosophy or a mindset like that.
Mm.
And I think this freedom or maybe just enjoyment that one gets out of life's precious moments is worth so much more in a normal length life than it is in a several centuries long life.
Yeah, I mean, certainly that is a common philosophical, uh, not even debate. I think most people agree. Oh, eternity is a punishment. Look, it's not happening anytime soon. But I don't necessarily, I wouldn't necessarily call it a punishment. I feel like being able to live a long life, like say like an elf for thousands of years. I think there's joy in different experiences and having so many things. It would be heartbreaking at times, but also such an amazing thing to see the world transform before your eyes. I think it's a great thing. Now, and you can still enjoy the little things. Maybe they don't have as much impact on your life as someone who has a shorter life. Maybe that's the kicker. But it certainly changes your perspective on things. But I don't know. I'm gonna push back a little bit, but I do think that most people, if not all people, would agree with you.
Fair.
I'm very much in a minority in that opinion.
Perhaps. But another part of her philosophy is about not obsessing with the past, and I interpret that as not obsessing with the dead,
Mm.
in the sense that like these clones at the lab, they were tasked with bringing people back from the dead, and like those types of actions isn't something that number 15 necessarily believes in, or at least believed in, the way I understand her, but rather focusing on the future.
Yeah, changing our focus from trying to bring back the dead to sustaining the future.
Right.
That being all said, though, is she completely being true to her motivation? Or like, is this basically what I'm saying? Is that her real motivation here, or was it just that,
Mm.
oh, this is what this person I admire seems to think, and I'm going to share that philosophy only because he thinks that as well. And not to say she can't be her own thinker. I'm sure she came to that conclusion herself. So I guess maybe there is some truth to that. But in reality, she wanted connection. She wanted love.
Yeah,
And because they had that together, I think that's what made that motivation special to her.
for sure.
At the end of the day, that was ripped apart.
Precisely. And like the way I understood it, Charon, or however his name is pronounced.
I think it should be Charon.
Okay. Or wait, is that the Greek guy who ferries the dead over the river Styx?
Yes.
Ah,
Yes,
right.
I
I didn't.
believe
Right. So
so.
that's okay. I didn't know it was spelled that way. So okay, Charon. He was obviously a cheating bastard. But obviously, like, or the way I read him, or the way I understood his character, he seemed to be the one in charge of the business that they were doing at the church.
Yeah. So the way I understood it is that maybe he had good intentions, uh, or he had good intentions to start off with, and then he finds 15 who has the chips that he would need in order to have a life like everybody else, but also give it to the children. And so he kind of uses the good intentions and her sweetheart to get those chips, and then he secretly gives himself one as well, but keeps up the whole coup of we're actually doing this for the children. That's how I read it.
Well, yeah, right. He's definitely using her for the chips. I think he had a chip of his own from the beginning, though, because I don't think he could have taken one of hers because he was probably too old to insert it.
I don't know.
Or at least it seems to be
I mean, it's not
implied
it's
that.
not like he took it when he was 80 or something like that.
True, we don't know his actual age. He's definitely younger than that. That's true. He's not that old. Um, right. It's possible that he took one of her chips. It's also possible that he had one from the start. I guess, yeah, it makes it worse though if he took one of hers. Or well, it's pretty terrible either way.
Yeah.
um,
Either way, even if he had a chip to begin with, although I do wonder why someone who had a chip would care about all that. I mean, maybe he's making money off of it somehow, but
right.
there's not money. The money doesn't drive it. It's the likes,
Uh
right? It's
huh.
the goods that drive the world, the economy.
Maybe he gets likes from all of these kids after they get their chips. He's like, now you got to give me a like, or else I won't send you to school, or something.
Yeah, I guess he could have been doing that without her knowing. Maybe
Maybe.
I don't know.
But number 15, like we were talking about, like what did she really want, and like those type of things.
Yeah.
And I do think that this specific type of work that she was doing with her lover,
Mm-hmm.
she was doing it because he was doing it. Like, since
Mm.
he was seemingly in charge of it, like this was probably his business before they met, and she kind of joined in on that, which worked out great for him. But what really mattered to her was, as you I think you said, like the connection, and she wanted to grow old with him, and the love
Mm-hmm.
that she felt. That was, I think, the reason she did all of those things ultimately. And she probably, yeah, she surely agreed with it being good deeds, and like she was doing it for the goodness of it as well. But the love definitely drove her.
Yeah, I think two things can be true. As we talk about it, I think
Mm,
certainly her desire to be with him forever and grow old together, knowing or assuming that he wasn't going to live forever.
hmm
Um, I think she was wanting to do that. That was her desire. But I think either she grew into it or equally she had the desire to help others and to help the children as well, and thought that was an admirable thing that Charon wanted to do.
yeah,
So,
yeah. But then, of course, she really kind of lost it there near the end of her life,
yeah.
as
Oh man.
she found out what he'd been doing all along, and she even tried to force a tag chip into herself,
Yeah.
which seems to, well, for one, it seems to have gone against her ideals, but also it just ended up doing physical harm to her.
Yeah.
So that was a very sad end to her character.
It really was. It was almost hard to read,
Yeah.
and yeah, I definitely feel for her and feel that it's just all so tragic. You know, she made a choice assuming that another person was uh, going down the same path, someone that she cared deeply about. But when that was revealed to be false at the point of no return, it's hard
Mm,
not to be completely upset and think that your life was wasted in a way.
yeah.
But it wasn't. I mean, she helped so many children, but it's hard to see the bright side of things in that aspect because deep
Yeah.
down the thing that she truly cared about was her love and potential partnership with Charon.
hmm
And that's something that I wanted to point out is her sister she saw more so as a tool to use, and I think she still had some feelings for them. Didn't hate them. I think she loved them, but Charon was definitely much higher up the the pyramid for her. Like
Yeah.
that was who she truly cared about, truly loved, and kind of was what replaced her sisters as family to her.
I don't know. Like, well, I agree that she definitely cared more for him.
Because they can't sympathize with her. They're living forever. They don't experience. They're not going to experience the death that she did,
Yeah.
or at least
No.
not to her knowledge.
Yeah. No, for sure.
um,
Yes. I do still think that she did really love them, and like they were family to
well,
her.
yeah,
Though I agree, like not in the same way. Um, and like with that, I think obviously she didn't see it at the end, but that was like aside from the good deeds that she'd been doing and all the children that she'd helped throughout her life, the sistership and the love that they had there was also something that she could have cherished, and maybe should have cherished, but
yeah,
obviously I understand that it was difficult for her in that moment.
yeah. I just think. I mean, besides just being 90 something years old, I think just all the emotions at that time. I don't think she could
Yeah.
uh, comprehend that emotionally, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. Her sisters loved her dearly, whether immortal beings or not. They
Mm.
they have true capacity for love as well. I mean, they are people too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just such an interesting thing where, and Doro noticed this is that 15 purposely was using her sisters as the body shields,
Hmm.
and almost making her think that she cared more so about Charon and less so about her sisters. Um, and maybe that's just because she knows that they're immortal, versus Charon not being, or well,
Yeah.
assuming Charon wasn't.
Yeah.
So maybe it just comes down to that.
She
But
knew they could take it. Mm.
yeah. And honestly, I think they were happy to take it for her.
I think so too, for sure.
Truthfully,
For sure.
yeah,
But that death scene for her, I think, is such a unique death scene.
yeah,
Like looking at fiction in general and death scenes across fiction, like it's really like the opposite of peaceful. It's a quite chaotic death, even though it happens, in her bed and whatnot. Like, and the drama that kind of comes from within her is just, yeah, like it's terribly sad. But I appreciated well, yeah, like I guess the uniqueness of it.
yeah. One other thing I'll bring up into this as I look back on that unique scene.
Yeah.
She says, "I don't need you. I need Charon,"
Mm.
and obviously that's her desire for him to love her. Uh, but at that moment, it's not so much that she needs these immortal beings to cry for her. She needs someone to actually sympathize, to be, you know,
Mm.
someone who's also going to die someday. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but
No, but that's
the word "need" just got me to
yeah.
think a little bit.
Right. And even though she knows deep down that Charon also is an immortal, um
It was the idea of
precisely
Charon,
it's the idea
which
of what she used to believe in and him being. Yeah, I get that. It did also, and I'm not reading it this way, but it did also like that kind of explosion of emotions there right before she died. I don't need you, I need Charon. Did kind of seem a little bit Hayase-esque also with like I don't know, like I need Fushi, like kind of that kind
uh,
of but obviously like I'm not reading it that way. Number 15 is not, other than being I guess biologically related to Hayase, she isn't. Well, yeah, they don't have much of a connection beyond that.
that would be a wild twist if 15 was actually Hayase's spy the whole entire time.
Yeah. Like
That would
the
be
thought did cross my mind as I was
wow.
taking notes, but I was like, no way.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, it would be wild.
That would be.
It would be
And
funny.
maybe the only reason why she never obsessed over Fushi was because this Fushi was never around.
Right.
Although I just think if Hayase 5 comes back, that there has to be the Fushi obsession. That just
Mm-hmm.
it just has to be a thing, unless they didn't properly reincarnate her or whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go there. But I will one of the thing I'll mention about that scene is the clapping over her dead body after they
Mm-hmm.
stabilize their emotions. That was kind of disturbing, and
Yeah.
just her dead body, mouth agape, like
Yeah. Yeah.
it was just kind of
Mm-hmm.
hard to read.
And like their instant
uh,
switch from bawling like to suddenly
well, that too,
like
yeah.
very like calm and just kind of applauding. Very like that wasn't very human of them, but but anything else on number 15?
No.
Then let's talk a little bit about a couple other characters. Starting briefly with Mizuha clone number 3, the leader of the bunch, and physically only about 7 years old.
Wow.
She's lived for, or she did live for over 200 years, and and she has really long hair.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, that's a unique quirk. Unique quirk.
Yeah.
I mean, I need to have my hair grown out so I know how old I am. I mean, have you heard of a calendar or like,
Yeah.
just a mark on the board, or I don't know. There's a way to do this without having your hair all over the place. I mean, could you imagine? I'm sure her hair falls out. Everyone's hair falls out
Oh yeah.
from time to
Oh,
time.
these really long strands of hair just laying around.
Wild. Wow. That poor vacuum. That poor vacuum.
Yeah.
No, I really I thought it was kind of funny. Somewhat of a typical anime trope where you have the not quite 1,000-year-old but hundreds-year-old lolly grandma
Yeah.
type of character.
Definitely.
But I liked her. As you said, it's a shame that she's gone, supposedly, but
Mm,
it's I like her.
for sure. But any other characters we want to discuss?
So Rabbit, I mean, is he secretly fighting back against the whoever's controlling, or is he maybe not fighting back, but he trying to find ways to? I mean, because he's the one that basically encourages Doro to do something without them watching.
Yeah.
It gives her the doll, basically gives her the idea to talk in cyberspace. You know,
Yeah.
it's it's very interesting because this is a character that I did not have great feelings about in the
Yeah.
previous volumes.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I never thought he was the leader of Kaibara, and obviously he's not.
Uh-huh.
But it seemed like he was someone who was higher up and was corrupted. But I guess at the end of the day, the point is that it's not humans that are controlling the knockers. It's the knockers that are controlling the humans, or
Mm-hmm.
whoever is up in the saucer are controlling the humans. So he's just a pawn, and I guess he's, without making too much of a splash, he's trying to fight back in some way.
Yeah.
At least that's how I'm thinking it. Am I crazy?
No, I mean, I don't think so. It's definitely it's clearly he's not entirely sympathetic to Kaibara.
Yeah.
Otherwise, his actions in this volume wouldn't make any sense. It's we just don't know, I guess, his angle.
Yeah. Yeah, and the same goes with how he is treating and caring for, in a way, Abel.
Yeah.
I'm just confused. Why was he adopted? Where does Abel come from? I, I almost wonder if Abel is his actual son, but he had to give him up to adoption, and that's why
Oh,
it's going this way, and that's why he's caring so much about Abel getting a chip.
that's interesting. I like that theory.
I mean, why else would he care?
Right.
And something that didn't make sense to me, and maybe you can help me. He says his adopted mother's poor sister is depressed over it.
Yeah, I
What?
did.
What?
I didn't get that either.
Do you mean is this a typo? And he meant to say my adopted sister, or excuse me, his adopted mother, my poor sister, is depressed over it.
That would make more
Is that what
sense.
it's supposed to be? That would make a lot more
That would
sense.
make so much more sense.
Uh,
um,
so I'm
but
almost wondering if it is a typo.
right, no, yeah, let's consider it a typo, I guess, because I can't make sense of it otherwise. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I like your idea that he may potentially be the father of Abel, because not only would it make sense with him being so present in a way, like in Abel's life, um,
Yeah.
like it would explain a lot of Abel's like circumstances at that time of his life and whatnot. It would also explain, or it could also explain potentially, why Rabbit chooses to go against Kaibara in the way that we see him do in this volume, because
Mm.
he knows or he understands at that point that his son, if we're going by that theory, uh, will forever be lacking. And if he
Mm-hmm.
wants his son to be able to live a good life as a lacking, he needs to, or
Mm-hmm.
they need to get rid of Kaibara or whoever is in charge of that.
True. Very true.
So it would align with that.
I mean, it almost seems like he's willing to let. I mean, he's let Abel live for how many till 20 years old,
Hmm.
like that. He's letting Abel be who he wants to be,
Yeah.
accept who he is, and supposedly is encouraging people to take down the higher ups.
Yeah, change society. Don't change the individuals.
Save society.
Yeah.
uh, I, I mean, I guess he's a guy on the inside all of a sudden.
Yeah. Very fascinating.
Man,
Very fascinating.
yeah. I can't wait. I'm excited to read more about him, to be
Oh,
honest. And
we
there's only
only
two
have
more
two. Yeah,
volumes. It's
I
so
was just about to
frustrating.
say. Yeah. Oh man. Oh, it's so exciting.
And we haven't even gone into any sort of romance with Tonani and Fushi. It doesn't exist. It won't happen.
I
Not in 2 volumes. Not with everything else that needs to be addressed.
know.
My ship is not sailing. Ever.
Doesn't seem like it.
Ever. Okay, moving on.
Yes.
Speaking of Fushi, a couple things.
Yeah.
Still hasn't grown a thick skin after all these years, and he thinks about Yuki, and I think Yuki deciding to move on and not staying with him. I think that was really hard for him to see that.
Mm.
And I mean, he respects Yuki's choice, but I think he would have much preferred to have him still with him.
Yeah.
So
No,
I
for
think that was
sure.
pretty sad.
Definitely. Yeah, like that first chapter of this volume was I mean, it wasn't like in your face too much, but I did feel like the essence or an essence of that first chapter was a lot about Fushi missing Yuki.
Yeah.
Since the chapter started off with the flashback to Yuki's birthday, and there was another flashback to Yuki on his supposed deathbed.
Yeah.
Later on in the same chapter. So like, yeah, it's definitely weighing on Fushi.
Certainly. And I don't know if it was this past volume or one of the other previous volumes, this arc, but he did mention that I think it was 2 volumes ago. Mentioned that Yuki would have been able to solve it differently, or been able to found a way to do without violence, or find an agreement, or however he put it. So obviously he thinks very highly of Yuki and wishes that he was there still with him, but regardless, that's just not what happened. And I think he's still trying to get a thick skin, and maybe that's reassuring that he hasn't got to the point where he just lets a death happen and people move on, and he's not hurt by that. I think that just again shows his humanity and how much he's grown as a person. And then my last character I want to talk about, it's No. I'm still of the opinion that the woman that Bon saw was No. I think that's just that makes sense.
Right.
And with Fushi having the flashback dream of not just Yuki but Nono as well, I feel that was hinting towards there being a Nono connection. That they have her trapped and are using her to make the water memory water and trapping her because she has something important that they don't want to get out.
Right.
I guess that's more of a theory. I guess I jumped into discuss to
That's all good.
theories there, but they
Yeah.
were talking about it in the first chapter, and I felt like, well, it has to be no, or that's my opinion.
That is right, and right. I think that's a fair speculation based on the names that she spoke in at the end of the previous volume.
Yeah.
I feel like it probably makes the most sense. So I think I'm with you on that.
Yeah. In that flashback, that I assume is not just a dream, but is actually something that happened. Nono says, "Life doesn't turn out the way you hope." That sounds like she has regret that something didn't happen. What didn't happen? I thought they were having a great time. I mean, I'm really assuming here and taking a shot in the dark, but did she want there to be some sort of love between her and Yuki, maybe? Or I don't know. Like what was she lacking that
Yeah.
life didn't turn out the way she had hoped?
Right. I read that more so as her commenting on Fushi having regrets. Though now that you mention it, it's entirely possible that she's referring to her own potential regrets. Though I guess it could also have been her talking about Fushi's regrets.
Interesting. One other possibility, not going straight to romance. What if it's more so that everything they did to try to better Knocker relationship, Knocker human relationship, maybe it started going in a direction that they hoped or that had not wanted to go, and maybe that's what she's lamenting.
Yeah, and like with the whole Kaibara cybernetics appearing during their lifetime, maybe that wasn't something that they really had hoped for.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
But I don't know.
I think that makes more sense than the love angle, to be honest. Not to say I don't think I can't ship them, and that's you could totally do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, if anything, it seems like they are a thing. It seems like they're kind
Kind
of
of,
living
yeah.
together.
Yeah.
But I think it's more likely something along those lines of Kaibara and things like of that nature.
Perhaps.
Okay, so that's all I got. Thank you for being patient.
All good, all good. Then I guess without further ado, the predictions. And speaking of the woman who may or may not be Nono hanging up in Kaibara, being kind of stuck up there, they speculated further on her at the start of this volume, and the comment about Kaibara basically keeping her there in order to preserve the secrets that this woman is possessing, and like keeping her from dying, got me thinking that what if the next time they pull the Tonari gets captured but then dies to get back to her friends stunt? What if Kaibara actually puts her up in that kind of a manner, and thus that managing to keep her prisoned and managing to make her not die?
Interesting.
Just knowing that Kaibara has the ability to do stuff like this does make me worried for a potential next time they pull that ruse.
Why wouldn't they have done it earlier, though?
Maybe they've learned their lesson by now, so they'll do it the next time.
Well, another thing is that Bonespy was able to get into it. So I feel like they still can't keep Fi from escaping, per se. It's more so whatever the Knocker's body is like or whatever.
Well, yeah, right. They can't control the Phi, but they can keep the physical body from dying. And as long as the body is alive, the Phi is stuck in the body.
Mm, true. Interesting. One other thing I'll say about that is, do you think they would try that strategy again after what happened with Tonari and, oh gosh, I can't remember his name. The young boy,
Oh, Anton.
Anton. Yeah.
They probably they'll probably like if they were to capture Tonari or any of the immortals again, I would I would expect that they'd be more cautious about it and not like be so careless as they were when they let Anton into Tonari's room there or whatever, because that was very careless. But yeah, speaking of the next volume, it will apparently continue the flashbacks a bit further. Um,
Yeah.
and I bet we'll learn what information it was that Dolly initially wanted to get to Fushi, since that was kind of the one thing that that was kind of the first memory she has
Hmm.
at the start of the arc is that
Mm-hmm.
she hasn't or she wanted to deliver a message to somebody. We know at this point that it was to Fushi, but we don't know what the message was. But I'm sure we'll learn that next time.
Mm-hmm.
And I also assume it's going to cover the coming 4 years because I think that's what's missing since we know that
Right.
uh, or
Well, no,
or
because
actually
I agree. Yes.
mm,
Oh no, no, no.
no, now I'm second guessing myself because well we saw the first 8 years in this flashback in this volume,
Yeah.
and then there's another 4 years, and that's like the last time that Anton saw her
Hmm.
because he saw her 8 years ago, which was when he was
You
12.
mean Abel?
Oh, sorry, Abel. Yes, sorry, of course. Um, so there's 4 years there, but then there's also 8 years up to present day, and the doll fell from the sky in present day. So there is a lot of time technically to cover,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So I'm thinking that Anton remained friends with Dolly for 4 years after the point where this volume ends.
For sure.
He probably didn't know about Doro, or I don't know exactly, but regardless, he remained friends for another 4 years with Dolly. But after 4 years, when Abel, did I say Anton before? When Abel was 12, Dolly left, possibly to go up to Kaibara and do the mission.
Yeah.
But then there's 8 years there that she
That's
must have been
crazy.
on like an 8 year mission. I don't know. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see.
Good point. Yeah, so there's a flashback in this volume that Andy has, not Andy, gosh dang it, Abel has,
Yeah, yeah,
um, where Dolly is giving him Doro's name tag.
yeah.
And I assume it's Doro herself doing it, like she has full consciousness of it, full and everything. I am curious, like you said, what happened during those 8 years. I mean, it was 8 years ago that the lab was attacked and the clones were killed.
Right.
So it makes me feel like when that happens, Dora must go on the attack, or at least begin her espionage into the saucer.
Yeah.
But could it be just that she tries to sabotage them, or attack them, but is taken out and is basically switched off for 8 years until she's thrown away as junk?
Oof.
That's why she ended up in the junk pile.
That's crazy. I, for the sake of logic, I would hope that Kaibara wouldn't do that because that would seem really stupid. I don't know.
But maybe they don't know
Oh
that
yeah.
she's transferred whole consciousness to it. They just think it's some
Mm.
remote controlled doll.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, that's possible.
or something else happens. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's very exciting. Um, that said, though, I'm quite certain that we'll get all of the relevant parts that remain of the flashback in the next volume. Like
Yeah.
we won't have to wait longer than the next volume to get all the flashbacks. In fact, I don't even think all of next volume will cover the flashbacks. I think there will be other present day content as well in the next volume.
There has to be.
There needs to be.
Man, I know that the final volume will be epic and grand, but I feel like most of the arc has to be completed in this next volume. Just just because I feel in order to wrap up the entire story
Yeah.
of To Your Eternity,
Mm-hmm.
I I don't know if you can just do it in one volume or even like half a volume
Yeah.
or vice versa, in half a volume or even one volume.
Mm-hmm.
I think it can be done in one volume, but I would be disappointed if it's just a couple of chapters of a epilogue or what have you. I mean, I'll be happy with whatever she does. I truly do love this manga, but it feels like there's just so much to wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully it ends with it being satisfying, but who knows? Um, and the final volume could be longer than most. That's definitely a possibility.
Certainly possible. Yeah.
But a couple of my other predictions, if that's okay.
Yeah.
This is kind of tragic, but I think Doro and Abel will have a sad, short, but happy ending. Basically what I'm saying is that I do think Abel will die,
Yeah.
and maybe even Doro will die with him. I'm not sure, but I do think they could potentially have a tragic, I guess, love story. I don't know. It depends on how they're spinning it. How Oima is going to spin it, either romantically or more familially. But regardless, I think it will be one of those bittersweet endings for them.
Yeah.
And then speaking on Doro and her technology, what if the technology that she comes up with is actually the key to fulfilling Fushi's dream of giving everybody immortality in a way? I guess that could be interesting with no death being happening. However, that does kind of still raise the issue of people basically being forced to conform to a world. But maybe if the option is just there to transfer your consciousness and continue living in like a robotic body or something, maybe
Mm.
that's okay. And then if you want to live the way your life is, however it may be different from others, then you still continue on that path, whether that means you die or not, and you keep on going. There's nothing stopping you from doing that.
Mm.
Maybe that's how it would work out, because you wouldn't need the knockers to live forever in that case, because you just keep transferring your consciousness, which is kind of what Fushi does anyway. Although his is more exact, where he's able to recreate the entire body for the Phi, 1 to 1. That being said, as we saw with Doro, there was a lot of mutilation that had to happen in order for that to work. So that would be quite the messy operation if future people were to do that as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm just thinking of how this could potentially tie into Fushi's main goal, right? And I feel like part of his main goal was for everyone to be happy.
Yeah. With the whole successful Dolly experiment, I kind of more so got the vibe that instead of it being something that Fushi may be using, it's something that the villains may be using.
Oh no.
Maybe I mean maybe it's even connected to the reason why they ended up killing all the Mizuha clones 8 years ago, is that they found out about the doll and they realized, oh, this solves everything. We don't need these clones anymore.
Mm.
And so they were successful in doing what they wanted to do. I speculated last time, I think it was last time, that their ultimate goal is to recreate Hayase. Here we learn that it's actually Mizuha that they're trying to recreate. Regardless, maybe they were successful in it, and then thus they didn't need the clones anymore. and they ended up being successful because of what they learned through the doll experiment.
That's a great prediction. I mean, that could easily be the case of why they decided to kill the clones. Um, I kind of thought maybe it was just insubordination. Man, I'm really expanding my vocabulary. um, them
Yeah.
going against what they were asked to do, and I guess mainly uh, Doro and 15, really.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I thought could have been the case, or maybe they gave up entirely on it and just thought it was a failed experiment and just okay, whatever,
Yeah.
get rid of it.
Could be.
Um, but that would be very interesting if they got what they needed somehow. Although I felt like they tried so hard to keep that a secret in through cyberspace, and not let anybody else hear. So how would they find out? Maybe Rabbit was a a leech the entire time,
Ooh.
or a mole double agent the entire time.
Oh yeah. Hey, I mean, actually, I don't think that's too bad of an idea.
Dang it!
If he, because he straight up presented the doll to her, he could have
Yeah,
potentially known that she has the capacity or the ability to make something like that happen, and he figured that if I trick her into doing this with the right motivation, then she can solve all of our problems for us.
I was just starting to like Rabbit, so don't take this away from me.
Sorry. um,
uh,
but yeah. I have a prediction. Let's see if I can explain it elegantly at all. Or well, it's some kind of speculation at the very least. So, as Fushi said, even if Abel would wish to live on after his eventual death, Fushi, with his current powers, would only be able to make Abel a new body that would die within another year or less than a year again. Like it wouldn't be like a great way to live for Abel. This got me to think that I guess it's time for Fuji and the Immortals to finally accept that death is a natural part of life, and perhaps also understand that death in some ways gives life meaning, or if not that, at least to grow that thick skin that Fuji was talking about. Um, and in the first volume of this arc, Dolly asked the Immortals, "What do you all live for?" And at that moment, none of them had an answer to give her. But maybe they'll come to understand, or I got this thought that maybe by the end of the arc, Fushi and the Immortals will come to understand the Beholder's point of view. I don't know if it would seem like a downer.
that would kind of be anticlimactic with basically not accepting the beholder's role, and then all of a sudden being okay with death after that. You know?
but I think it could be a beautiful arc as well, and like a coming to an understanding. And I think because I think that if this would happen, and if the main characters would come to this understanding or realize this, I think it would be really beautiful to just let each of the immortals live out a long and satisfying life one last time, and then let that be their last life.
Yeah.
Let them achieve their goals in this final life.
I mean, that certainly would be nice, for sure.
And yeah, and them dying once and for all. I think I'd really like that. And I think in order for the characters to get there, I think the beholder's mindset is much more aligned with that than Fushi's current mindset.
Hmm. Interesting.
But I realized that maybe it's not in line with, I guess, the trajectory of the story, or in line with, well, definitely like what Fushi feels currently and whatnot. And I would also think it would be beautiful for Fushi to manage to create a world of his own that is different from the Beholder's world. Like there would definitely be an appeal in that too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I wouldn't be upset with that. I mean, I think it would satisfy each character's kind of goal or their original dream,
Yeah.
and that would be satisfying. that was technically what was supposed to happen between the modern day arc and this arc.
Yeah.
But not everybody fulfilled that dream.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at you, March.
Yeah.
But it's fine. And or if that were to be eventually resolved at the end here, in like the last volume or so, I think that'd be satisfying. But
Mm.
I am kind of hoping that Oima finds a different way to end it instead of just being death is okay. Because that is honestly a typical answer. Because it is
Mm.
reality. In reality, death is okay. And it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to come to grips with that.
Yeah.
It's hard to let people go. Absolutely. And I think it is a message that resonates with a lot of people. So there's nothing wrong with that message. I just feel that Oima wants to take it in a different way and try something else with with Fushi. But
Right.
we'll see.
Yeah, no, and I really I think that would be so cool, especially if she'd managed to pull off something very creative and like yeah, which I think she certainly could. Um, I just can't imagine it because I'm not as creative as she is. but
Yeah.
but
Amen.
I
Myself included.
yeah, I'm excited. Regardless of what the ending will be, I'm sure I'm gonna eat it up.
Yeah. My last prediction is not something nearly as thought provoking as yours, but I just think that Fushi's base, the immortal base, I think will get attacked while he's gone.
Ah, right.
It just seems like the way that they're preparing and setting that up felt like maybe that was hinting at potentially something bad happening while Fushi's gone.
Good point. Yeah.
That's it for me.
Nice. Same here. And then even though I know the answer,
Yeah.
who's your star of this volume?
Oh boy, it is Mud Doro.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, entering the top tier list of my favorite characters from To Your Eternity. I think she'll continue to grow in these next volumes, and in this volume, seeing who she truly is and her beginnings was fantastic, and I am continually impressed with her, and like how we're still following the Hayase line in a way, but now we're getting something entirely different,
Yeah.
and basically cut away from the Hayase curse, if you will.
Precisely. We are entirely free of that, which is nice. And Doro is also my star of this volume, hands down. And she has become one of my favorite characters in this manga too. After this volume, absolutely lovely. I also have to mention that I listened back to our volume 20 discussion recently, which was the first volume of this arc,
Uh-huh.
where you were spontaneously or initially, instantly, very impressed by Dolly's character in her introduction volume.
Yeah.
So, and if I remember correctly, like your reactions to her then were very similar to your reactions to her, I guess, more thorough introduction in a way that we got in this volume. So I thought that was funny to hear.
Yeah. I love it. I
Yeah,
just love her
yeah, no,
character.
she's awesome. But yeah, I guess that is all. Or would you like to say anything else?
No. I mean I'm loving it. Two more volumes and I'll save any scores for
Mm,
the final volume,
for sure we will,
but
yeah.
it is fantastic to have this, and all the good things must come to an end.
Yeah.
I hope people get through whatever arc, if they don't like the modern day arc, or if there was something about the previous arcs they didn't like, they get through to the end. I really think you'll find something special here. It's not exactly as the same as the first two arcs of To Your Eternity. Death is not at the forefront here. Uh, Rather, we're exploring immortality
Mm,
and I guess as you say earlier, uh, disabilities and accepting who you are. So I really think that this is a
mm.
great arc.
It really is. I love it. And it's like the metaphors, even though I guess we can never say for sure that they are the intention that we pick up on or whatever. But like I remember we talked in the past, in the previous arc, although I think in that case it was very clear that the knockers were kind of a metaphor for mental illness.
Yeah.
And how that was a very interesting
Comparison.
Yes, thank you. And how here we have something similar, but with potentially with disabilities. And I just like those types of things, even though they aren't like make or break things for the story. But
no,
it's a nice addition to it all. I think. I think that's awesome.
Right, and Oima's the one who created a silent voice, and that deals with someone who has a disability.
Precisely. So yeah, surely it's not too far-fetched, I think, to make those connections.
Yeah, agreed.
Very well. Dear listeners, let us know what you think of this volume as well in the comments, please. And if you enjoy our podcast, please share it with your friends. You'll find links to our social media in the description. And you can support us by rating our show on the podcast platforms and subscribing to our channel, Umami Manga, on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time when we'll talk about Volume 24. Bye-bye!
See you later!
Because I'm thinking in this world where everyone is artificially made, you're not blood relatives with anyone.
Incense on the menu, boys!
But that said, it's still kind of ethically questionable to be doing that with even your step siblings, I think.